EricMo.com. That's QWIKMOW.com. And today I'm going to speak to you about one of the problems that we have when we're landscaping. It's terrible when you have a equipment malfunction. And today I'm going to talk about the STIHL Weed Eater FS56RC. And what I started to experience with my Weed Eater here was that it started to bog down when I pressed on the gas. I hardly had any power. You probably reached out there and heard that, you know, at first I tried changing the spark plug. That didn't work. And then I realized that after some research that it was probably the spark arrestor that was clogged up in the exhaust. So in order to change that, that's what we're going to do here quickly, or have a look at it. You simply take out these three little star screws here with the tool that they give you. Or if you're like me and you don't always have all those tools, I actually have a kit that I bring with me out in the field of a screwdriver with the right star tip on it. And I just use that to remove it. But of course it helps if you have the actual factory tool that they give you. So it's just these three screws that you remove, 1, 2, 3, and then this assembly just comes off like that. We'll just put this to one side, and then the actual spark arrestor is held in place with a screw here, and I've already taken that screw out. It's just an ordinary Phillips head screw, and if you can get close in here, the spark arrestor is just this little screen right here, and I'm going to grab a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it out and have a look, and oh my gosh, it's completely clogged up, that screen. Now some videos will tell you to go ahead and use a torch to clean this off, but I'm not going to go buy a $30 or $40 piece of equipment to do like I used to do in the old days when we had our motorcycles and things like that. We just clean things like this by dropping it into some gasoline. So I just got some tin foil here and I just put some gasoline in there. And if you have a toothbrush or something like that, you can scrub it. And so we're going to pause this here while I just clean this for a minute and get a brush to clean it. Pause. Go ahead and pause it. Okay. Okay, so after I let it soak in the gasoline for a while and grab a toothbrush, you'll see here, it takes a little bit more work obviously than heating it up with a torch. If you have a torch, you can just heat it up, but don't use an acetylene torch because you could melt the metal. Just use a propane torch and this stuff will just come right off. But this is how you clean it off. And I'm just going to pause it for a moment. You can see some of it starting to come clean there. So we're going to pause it for a moment now while I finish cleaning this, so you don't have to watch me scrub it all off. So go ahead and pause it. Alright, so I don't know if you can see this, but it's all clear now. Just from scrubbing with some gasoline and a toothbrush. It took about 10 minutes scrubbing both sides. And you can see blowing through there now, it's pretty much all cleaned up. Just get a little bit of excess gas out of there. Alright, so I'm going to screw this back in here, and then we're going to go ahead and crank it up. So I'll just quickly show you here that I'm reinserting it, the screen, the spark arrestor, back into the exhaust manifold of the system. And I'm going to go ahead and take out the trusty screwdriver and screw it back in there. And again, we're going to reassemble this part here. It's just these three star screws here. And I'm going to put this back into place. I'm going to pause the camera while we screw it back in so you don't have to watch that. So go ahead and pause it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we screwed this assembly back together. And I'm going to pump some gas into the chamber. Do about, 8 or 12 pumps. I'm going to flip the choke on. I started this weekend. And I'm going to go ahead and crank it up and see if it bogs down again or if we're running at full power, which I suspect we'll be running at full power. Alright, that's more like it. We're back to full power, and this again is for the STIHL FS56RC, and I am Eric Majors from QuickMow. That's QWIKMOW.com. Landscaping business. It's your tip for today on cleaning out the spark arrestor when your equipment starts to bog down. If it's not the spark plug, it's typically that. Have a great day from QuickMow.